Welcome to this episode of Inside Tulsa Athletics. Our show today will feature 5 of our most successful basketball coaches. Stay tuned and we'll be right back for our roundtable discussion with our basketball coaches. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. As indicated earlier, our show today will be with 5 of our most successful basketball coaches. And I'd like to go around the horn and have them introduce themselves and a little bit about their background in basketball. And we'll start with Bobby Allison.
Bobby Allison, Tulsa Memorial boys basketball coach, 2002 Memorial grad, played there, went to NSU, came back home, was an assistant there, bounced around Muskogee and Morris, and came back home in 2013 and been blessed through this profession and been at Memorial since then. Thanks for having me today, Gil.
You bet.
Eli Brown, 2000 graduate at Booker T. Left there, went to NSU as well.
Roommates.
Left there and started at TPS in 04 and been here ever since. And currently the boys basketball coach at Booker T and had some success throughout my career, and I'm thankful to be here.
Rabu,
Leyva, the girls basketball coach at Booker T. Washington. I actually went to Booker T. Washington High School in Houston, Texas. I've been told that's not the Booker T. I now coach at the Booker T. Washington. Went to Oral Roberts University and then got started really coaching basketball at the Road Demonstration Academy, middle school basketball. The best thing ever for me because it's like, hey, here's a layup. Here's how you shoot a ball. And so that was my foundation for coaching. Got a chance to work at Memorial High School with Bobby as a girls coach there, learned a ton there. And then I've been at Booker T. Washington for 6 years now.
Michael Parish. I graduated in 1989 from Claremore High School. Played basketball at NEO for Larry Gibson on some great teams. We had some great players. Went on to play for Ken Hayes at NSU. Was fortunate enough to get to begin my coaching career as a graduate assistant there. Had some choices to make whether I wanted to stay in college coaching or get into high school coaching. And I look back and where I would be today if I would have chosen to be a college coach as an assistant. But that road was very long and it was also a higher paycheck as a high school coach at that time, and I was lucky to get a head coaching job right out of college. So I was able to sit in the front seat and learn how to be a head coach right off the bat, and I think that those lessons were invaluable for me. I've been at Edison High School 20 years now, and I also think part of being a good coach is being able to have some longevity at a place. So I've been very fortunate, so thank you guys for having me.
Carlin, Adkism, Will Rogers girls basketball. Graduated from the Booker T. Washington, Booker T. Washington High School in 2003. So 2010 was my first stint of coaching at Will Rogers High School. I've been there ever since, going into my 9th season. So I thank God for having me there that long and just being a blessing to me ever since. Thanks for having me on.
one of the things that we always want to know is what impact your early days in school and basketball had on where you are today. So what is that? Who wants to respond to that?
I think for me, the coaches I played for growing up, Nate Harris's, Coach Buck, and Coach Williams, and all those guys growing up were hard-nosed guys, and it kind of shaped who I am as a coach. And I mean, it was times where it was miserable going to practice, but it made you tougher as a person, as an individual. But you knew those guys cared. There wasn't no going home and crying to my dad or my mom. And they didn't care. It was do whatever that coach is telling you to do. And so I kind of patterned myself after those guys. now that I'm a coach, and really trying to care about my kids and help my kids. And so those early stages of learning the game when I was young helped me be who I am today as a coach.
Yeah, same way. Coach Bud coached me when I was younger as well, and he was a tough coach. And like Coach Brown said, it when going home crying to your dad or mom or anything like that, it was just we practiced in this hot gym at Booker T. It was it was called the girls' gym. It was actually upstairs in the old building, and it was just hot in there. It was hot in North Navy.
Yep.
It was just those hot, heated gyms, and his voice, you never can understand him. He would just yell at you. And so
You didn't know what he was saying.
yeah, and a lot of people are like, what do you understand? Well, yeah, I know what he's saying. Like,
Yeah.
what
But you
he's trying
moved
to
every
say.
time he said something.
Right, right. Yeah, but his personality, as far as understanding the game and knowing the game and getting us in a position to understand basketball, was kind of what molded me and understood where I'm at today.
It's interesting you say that because I remember as an assistant coach at Kansas State University, young, 25 years old, and one of the assistant coaches said, look, when Vince Gibson blows the whistle, run somewhere.
So
Don't stand because he'll be right on you.
Right,
And he would sit up in the bleachers at KSU Stadium, and anytime you heard it coming down, you said, oh, God, somebody's going to get it
some man.
because here comes the man.
Yeah.
right.
When we come back, we'll talk about some more specific things about their coaching days and things that they do with our student athletes.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right. Only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hill's means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hill look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hill has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back. Now we want to get a little more in depth into each one of the coaches, why they made the decision to coach, and who was an influencer in that decision to coach. So let's start with Rabu.
Yeah. When I came to TPS, the sports was ran by the Parent Association. So my second or third years when you introduced, hey, we're going to have the coaches in the school building. And I saw that as the biggest way to affect kids, to connect with kids, to make a difference with the kid. When you've invested with a kid and you see them in the hallway, you're like, hey, don't do that. You spend so much time with them, they will listen to you. And I wanted to have that kind of impact with students, the same way my coaches had with me, my drama teacher had with me, just that connection. And I think sports gives, I think all of us, a way to connect with our kids beyond just that ball bouncing. So for me, that's why I chose to start coaching in TPS. It was a great opportunity for me. The person that actually had the biggest effect on my coaching career was a player. Faith Ihim coached at Memorial High School. Her junior year, we go to state. Her senior year, we were going to be good. And we lose in a game to go to state. And I'm just devastated. I feel terrible. I feel like a loser. And she gets a full ride to ORU after that game. And then she's worked at One Oak now, graduated from ORU, 1,000 points scored, 1,000 rebounds. But it opened my mind up to, for that kid, the free education was way more important than what we'd have done in the state tournament. That would have felt good to me. But for her, that free education changed her life. So that changed my whole view kind of on what my job is as a coach, to kind of look long term and not just short term.
Yeah, Bobby.
Biggest influence to me in the coaching realm was Robert Sprague. When I was 15 years old, freshman, I remember Coach Savage his wife went into labor, and so Coach Sprague had to coach the freshman team that night. And I don't know, it's just a vivid memory. I remember him having so much joy. It wasn't work. He wasn't having to coach. He didn't have to. He was getting to. And And I just looked at it as, man, this guy's blessed. He doesn't seem like he works a day in his life. And from then, I mean, that was a pivotal moment. It was like something was over me, but I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And then from there, my father's obviously been huge to me, and as far as my code and conduct. And then Terry Scott and Eric Savage, those are two guys that, have been part of the ingredients that I've taken from. But man, coaching is such a calling. All of us are here, and we've done it for a long time because of that. It's not a flash in the pan with anybody sitting in this stage. Mm-hmm. So, and you as well. And so, no, it's the impact, like Coach said, that you can have, the long-lasting relationships and beyond the wins and losses that, and, talking about the hot gyms at Booker T, I remember being in those gyms growing up, elementary school and everything. And the memories, I got friends that I'll talk to today that were in those same gyms with me that you kind of, have those bonds with, that hopefully that I can instill in the program, that my kids get to have those relationships as well. So it's just the whole 365 of it.
Michael.
Well, I grew up in a education family, and so, my role models were my father, my grandfather. My grandfather played basketball at Arkansas, played in Madison Square Garden, and my dad has probably been the biggest impact on me, just learning how to be a man and how to be thoughtful of others. But growing up, I wanted to be like them. Then I was able to play for some very good men and be around some great men, Jack Dobbins, Ken Hayes, just very good religious Christian men that gave you a sense of bigger belonging to the sport, sharing a love of the game that was good to you. I had such good men in my lives that I wanted to share that in other people's lives and kind of pay it forward. I think I was destined for other businesses, other callings, but once you get sucked into a sport that you love, and then you share it with others and you can see the impact it makes, that to me is more valuable than money, more valuable than chasing a college job. I really think high school sports is the true, ground roots of sports. Money hasn't fought its way in yet, and the kids aren't all about the money and the celebrity that comes with sports. It's really a more youthful, clean, honest game.
We talk about it's the last bastion of amateur athletics.
Right.
Because now with the NIL in college, they're paying them. And it's happened. It's going to happen.
Sure.
To us in high school. The association has passed the legislation to have an NIL.
And you actively already have parents that are searching for NIL deals for high school kids.
Yep.
And that's why I say for years it's been beautiful that stuff hadn't filtered its way into high school yet.
Right.
And it keeps it a clean, sport. But that is the beauty of coaching, is just getting to share and watch and enjoy those relationships and have them for a lifetime.
Eli.
For me, my father and my uncle were the two biggest impacts on me as a man and as a coach. My uncle, Leyva, who was an assistant with Nate Harris at Booker T for 18 years, just shared so much with me throughout my career, and he was my assistant at Central for 8 years. And so me being able to go to Booker T as a student, and before I was a student, able to go to practices and games and be behind the scenes, it just really helped me understand the game. And from a coaching standpoint, my father, who was my first coach as a young kid, he used to say these sound bites every day. And one of the things he would always tell me is the 4 Ds to life, the 4 Ds to winning is defense, determination, dedication, and discipline. And I never forgot those 4 Ds. And I still try to coach those 4 Ds and live those 4 Ds. And I think that the game itself is something that I got into from a coaching standpoint in 2005 And I didn't even know I wanted to coach. I was working at Madison as a teacher assistant, and my cousin BJ said, "Hey man, just go ask the principal if they got anything open." And Dr. Alexander was the principal at the time, and I said, "Hey, y'all got any coaching spots open?" Because I didn't even know how to get into coaching. And he said, "Yeah." He gave me a 7th grade boys team, and we ended up going. They didn't win a game the year before, and we went 8-2 that year. And Hamilton was the best team, and my cousin was coaching at Hamilton, and we beat them. From that point on, I just said, "Man, and I just became this competitive, crazy, want-to-win guy." And that came because I wanted to show kids that if you just work hard, you put your head down, you outwork everybody around you, you can achieve some goals. Mm-hmm. And so from that standpoint, I just fell in love with coaching. And my father and my uncle have been some of the 2 biggest mentors in my life.
Carlin.
Mine is probably my dad and my little league coach. I think we all know Coach Golf. He runs the TYA Bulldogs. He just instilled and that leadership in me. He used to always say, "You can see it." My dad wanted me to play running back. Coach Golf was like, "No, I'm gonna put him at quarterback because he can see it before it happens. Like he can't see nothing. Put him at running back." And so they'll go back and forth. But I ended up playing quarterback, and he just gave me that confidence. I started calling my own plays at a young age, and he just trusted me with that. I didn't feel like I can see the game before it happened, see the plays before, but I just started getting that confidence. And so I would say Coach Golf was a big part of why I started coaching, just because I wanted to give that confidence to other kids, because it goes a long way, not just in sports. I feel like it goes a long way within, just in school and life in general. So.
How did any of you get to TPS?
Well, I got
Raised on it.
my honest for me, I was in college, and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, got pregnant with my daughter, who's 19 now. And I needed a job. I came back home. I needed a job that I could go to school and still have a flexible income and be able to work and be able to take care of my daughter. And so I started substitute teaching. This was 2004, so my daughter was 1. And I was at Madison, and they brought me on full term. And from there, I just fell in love with kids and teaching and molding and being around kids who need help, and they need a father figure. All those things were satisfying to me, to be able to help a child grow up and assimilate to a man or a woman. And that's how I got to TPS, and I just never left. Both my parents were educators in TPS. My dad was a principal, and my mom was a 1st grade teacher.
There you go. Well, when we come back, we'll find a little bit more about our successful basketball coaches.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we're going to dive deep into some theoretical things that happen, or actually reality things that happen. But we want to know what our coach's philosophy is on multi-sport players. There's been a lot of conjecture about that over the years. Specialization, I got to spend all my time in the gym or on the field or wherever. And then now we've had professional athletes come out and say that it's better for the student athlete to be involved in various activities because of the muscle types and so on and so forth. So let's talk about that guy. Who wants to jump in?
I'll go first. My daughter is a freshman at Booker T. Washington, and she played volleyball. She'll play basketball for me. She'll run track. So I believe in kids playing multiple sports. I think what has happened, though, is, and I see this with my daughter, every sport's trying to take your soul. Every sport wants you. So she's playing a volleyball season, the club team saying, "Hey, come play club for me." I said, I'm not going to stop her, but club runs on top of high school basketball. And then she's going to go from high school basketball to track. So my bigger concern is just figuring out, how do we let our kids do multiple sports but find rest for their bodies? That's the biggest,
Agreed.
and I don't have an answer for that yet. Just even with her, like I tell her, we got to find time to say no to doing. So I'm a believer in it with trying to protect the player's body.
Now, you said before we went on case by case, and you couldn't have said it better, because it takes a real competitor and also a guy that can turn on a different switch to go from sport to sport. Two of the best teammates that I've ever coached in my life as a coach and been around, Isaiah Thomas and Jalen Alexander, they both played football and they played college football. And Isaiah is lucky enough to play for the Cleveland Browns now. But both of them, they fought hard for Memorial football, but then they came day one or whenever they got back, and they instilled a whole nother level of toughness and teammate, and they didn't even care about the scoreboard. And they just had a kind of sometimes those multiple sport guys can have a swag where it's just like, it's not about individual, it's about the team. It's about, we're going to score more points than that team. And those two guys, I wanted them to do whatever they could do. I wasn't going to hold them back, and football's been their meal ticket for education and life. But case by case situation. There's some guys that play football that I don't even want to enter the basketball gym. But those two are examples of guys that did nothing but add to the culture. And football was a big reason why they were able to add, because they had this toughness and teammate first mentality that still carries on in our program.
Michael, you have a multi-sport son.
Well, I think it's important for kids to enjoy all experiences while they can. And I wanted my son to stay competitive during the off seasons. Like Rabu said, though, you get these club AAU coaches, they want all access all the time, and you have to be strong enough to say no. The rest, you have to say no. So I've talked to some of these college coaches, basketball coaches. The times are different now. High school kids are not getting recruited like they used to because of the portal, and a lot of things are going on. And so I think these kids playing more sports now are going to have plenty of time to specialize and get more focused into a future sport. They're losing experiences with their friends, representing their communities in multiple sports, staying competitive and having that mental edge on other athletes. So I encouraged my son to play as many as he could.
Carlin.
This is a kind of a popular topic around me and my friends, because we talk about it all the time. And even some of my coaching buddies, we kind of discuss this situation. It's kind of a drawn out answer for me. Like I said earlier, it's a kind of a basis by base as far as the kid. For these two gentlemen who are next to me, their kids are very top athletes. I've seen his son play quarterback. I've seen him play basketball. I've seen his daughter play volleyball and basketball. They're elite within their own right. And so, but my thing is, what about the kids that are not elite? That's why I'm saying case by case, because what about the kids that's behind their kids? They have to specialize in that area and focus on that area. All right. So by the time their kids come back to that sport, now they're caught up with them, right? Because they're not talented enough to go through 3 or 4 sports, come back to that sport and keep up with them. How they already in both. They are in a step above them. And so I speak for all the athletes, not just the elite athletes that are playing these multiple sports. So for me at Booker T, I told Coach Parish I had to choose. I was one of those athletes. I'm not 6'2", and I wasn't running a 4.4 like my brother. We all know who Robert was. He's 6'2" and he ran a 4.3. So am I going to sit behind him in basketball and in football? Right. So as a kid, I was like, hold on, I'm not about to go sit on the bench and watch you play both sports. So I'm going to go get stronger in football, all right, and work out. So by the time you come back, me and you are going to be either on the same page, or I'm going to have to be on the other side of the other field playing another position, right? So that's all I'm saying about when it says case by case. It's about what school you're at, all right? And it's about what position you're trying to play. So all those things come into play when you're trying to choose for a kid what they should do. And
Rogers, you have a 2-sport.
We have a 2-sport rule. And
Right.
so that's what we come to, have to come to agree on sometimes is like, I have girls that if they're not in the gym, if they miss a day or two because they're going to this sport, they're gonna have to start all the way back over from scratch, and that's just the right reality of it. I have girls that can play all 3 sports and come back and be just fine. So it's like, you got to pick your poison when you're the parent and you with that child. So that's where I'm at with that.
For me, I've always enjoyed having 2-sport kids. Some of my best teams were filled with football players. Still at Booker T right now, I have 10 in football in my program.
Gee, what?
Yeah. So we try to keep it simple so that when they get there, they can pick it up.
Right.
But I've always enjoyed having kids who play both sports. My son is 9; he plays football and basketball, and so it's play as many as you can and try to do what you can. Now, to agree with Carlin, if a kid is a really good basketball player and just below average football player and he's just sitting the bench, he might as well just stay in basketball. Or vice versa. If he's not really good in basketball, but he's elite in football, he might as well just stay in football, especially if he's not even playing on the
Don't waste their time.
Yeah. So, but I enjoy 2-sport athletes, 3-sport athletes, whatever.
We only got 2 minutes. We'll probably carry this over into the next. Let's talk about Summer League and AAU basketball. What's the impact on our basketball programs with those 2 things?
It's not going anywhere, and it's kind of got to work hand in hand with it now.
Yep.
And I think that the big thing with that is communication with the parents. And I think we've talked about rest and being aware of how many games they're putting on their body, wear and tear, how much they're getting in the gym. I mean, kids are getting in the gym maybe more than they used to, as far as like they're physically in the gym. Now, I don't know if they're putting in as much quality time, because sometimes, I'd rather have a kid go 100 10 times than go 50 times.
Correct.
But AAU is not going anywhere. It's, especially with social media and everything, it can trick the kids also negatively. But there's also some positive aspects where you see kids go against people from all over the country. But it's a double-edged sword that you guys discuss more about. But it definitely is not going anywhere, and it's something you have to work with, not against, to me.
I think in inner city school, we need AAU because we need our kids playing as much as they can be playing.
Staying out of trouble.
Yeah, staying out of trouble, especially when they're younger. I know as high school coaches, sometimes there's some elements that aren't always great for it. But I know having daughters that are young, them playing AAU and competing and just getting in the gym has allowed them to separate, like you talked about. If they hadn't played AAU and just played for their school, that separation wouldn't have happened. So I think we just got to find a way, like Bobby talked about, to partner with the AAU programs. I don't mean like to get kids, just like how can we help you help the kid? Because we all care about the kid.
If we both want this kid to have a better life,
Yes.
education, and you use athletics as a tool, and then you're going to find out real quick if that AAU guy is using him for them or for the kid, and vice versa with the coaches.
It's easy to find that out.
I think that's the main thing that concerns me about AAU basketball or softball or anything else is what is the coach's motivation? Is it for him or is it for them? If it's for them, I'm 100% on.
Yeah,
Right, no doubt.
If it's just to promote myself, that we're trying to help kids. When we come back, we'll get more in depth on this.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Welcome back. Now we're going to get really in depth in the AAU and summer basketball and all these teams that develop with the pie in the sky for the student athlete. And I think Michael Parish has a real good comment.
Good take on it. Well, as an ex-player, coming through the system from the 80s, back when I played, we had 2 teams. You had the Rams in Oklahoma City and you had the Hawks in Tulsa, and that was it. And now you have, 50 to 100 AAU teams in Tulsa. And Rabu asked me, do you have any, great players in Tulsa, boys that don't play AAU? And I said, no, but those great players usually only play for 2 or 3 really good AAU teams. So what about these other 47 teams here in Tulsa? They've got to be filled with, the young, hungry, not elite talented players. And you run into these teams and these AAU coaches that are in it for themselves, for money, for free travel, vacations, for influence over kids and their families, for clout chasing to be friends with college coaches. And I got this college coach's phone number in my phone. I mean, it is beyond angering to see where the summer basketball has gone. And as a parent of a kid, I've had to experience it firsthand. Paying for practices that get canceled, paying for tournaments that get canceled and you don't get refunds. There's really poor communication with a lot of it. You have some AAU coaches that coach high school and they use the school's gym for practices, and you're paying for gym time. And even if the practice gets canceled, you want to go shoot around, or you've paid for the gym and they've closed the school gym. So there's a lot of obstacles with AAU for high school coaches, that really care about their players, want to put them with good people and in good programs. We have to sit here and try and help our parents navigate these deep waters. It is hard what we do. It is hard what these kids do, and it is hard for these parents to make good choices. Honestly, I miss the college coaches being in our high school gyms. I really think that is why a lot of these parents and these kids value AAU so much, is because the college coaches that is their recruitment time. They can get to these AAU gyms, and it's put a little bit too much emphasis on AAU, and it's taken some of that influence of high school basketball away. These college coaches do call us. They want to know how these kids act in school. They want to know their grade point averages. Are they dependable, reliable? You can't ask an AAU coach how this kid acts at school.
No, that's a big thing, I think, Michael, that at the end of the day, that coach is going to go to the counselor's office.
Yes.
They're going to look at their grades. They're going to see a report on their discipline and how they are. And we get back to education-based athletics, which is what we're in. Mm-hmm. AAU is not education-based.
No.
There's nothing to that. And what the other thing that concerns me about AAU is there's really no state organization.
Right.
I mean, who's in
Governing
charge?
body, yeah.
There's nobody in charge. So anybody can come up and say, well, I'm an AAU coach.
Well, the way the
and it's
AAU
gonna cost you
coaches treat
$150.
officials, the way
Yeah.
they treat officials.
Exactly.
And there's no governing body to suspend them for getting ejected.
Right.
For the way the kids treat officials, treat each other. It's a hard water to navigate. And if you don't have some guidance, if you don't take guidance from your high school coaches, it can be dangerous. You can lose money. Your kids can lose confidence. They can lose the love of the game, and right. it can impact them for many years.
I think that what you're saying is correct, and I also look at the other side too of what AAU can do for players in terms of the good programs that teach, cultivate, call coaches, put them in front of coaches. You know, as teachers of the game, we all see the bad side of AAU, and we all see the good side of AAU as well. But the problem is there's more bad than good when it comes to AAU basketball, not just in the state of Oklahoma, but in the country. And I just wish more AAU coaches taught, focused on teaching, helped us teach kids proper defense, offense, moving the ball, terminology, communicate, all the things that they need to be successful and not just chase wins. I'm not saying a AAU coach can't go out here and say, hey, I have a team and we're going to travel to this tournament and we're going to play in front of these coaches. Fantastic. But that's not the case all the time, because a lot of AAU coaches are cloud chasers, are in it for money, vacations, like you said. But then there's a nice handful of coaches who coach in the summer who are getting it done and doing it
Absolutely.
right. I just wish there was more of those.
I don't want to, bash all AAU. I started as an
Right.
AAU coach
Absolutely.
with the Hawks. Hawks, great organization. I do know there are good men, there are good programs, and they do help the kids.
Right.
I just wish that high school basketball, which we're very passionate about, got the credit it deserves and not so much of influence going to AAU.
Makes sense.
It has gotten to be a real issue, I think, in all sports. You have the travel baseball teams, the travel softball teams.
7-on-7.
7-on-7 leagues now are huge. You have a tournament in Dallas. You have a tournament in Kansas City for 7-on-7, and they all sell that the coaches are going to be there.
Well, I keep saying
coaches
that if
will be
football can find a way to make a club sport out of it, it'll move out of schools too, just like basketball, volleyball. Every sport we have, soccer is a club sport, an AAU sport. And football, as soon as they figure out 7-on-7 is where I see a club going.
That's where it'll go because they can't afford the other
Impact and the run. Yeah.
Well, the money to be able to equip a team and that. But 7-on-7,
But
you
it'll
don't
go
need
out
any
of
equipment.
sports will completely leave education.
Yeah.
Well, I can't speak for the boys' side. I've only been a girls' basketball coach. But I've seen way more positives in that in AAU for girls, the coaches I meet that coach AAU, they're not getting a ton of money. They usually don't have Nike deals. They're usually it's like my daughter plays or somebody plays. They're really trying to help kids. And they take these kids to go places that allow the coaches to come back to my gym. So I'll tell people all the time, we've had a ton of coaches come through the gym. It's because of AAU. They'll see me in AAU, then they'll call me up and say, hey, can I come to practice? Please do. Yeah. And then they'll ask about how they in the classroom, how do they practice 5 days a week. So I think if we can find more ways to connect with AAU coaches and make it a win-win, there's a lot of positive possibilities out there in the girls' side.
And I
can't speak
agree
for the
with
boys.
that. I think the girls' side is better than
I do too.
I think the
I do
girls'
too.
side is better AAU when it comes to that because I think that more of them care, but also it's not as big of a pool either.
It's not as big as a pool.
You
No,
know? So it's you got a small pool, and so you don't have 75 AAU teams in Tulsa.
we don't have that on the girls' side that I know of.
Well, when we come back, we're going to discuss what the goals that these coaches set for their programs and what they want their kids to get out of those programs at education-based athletics.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. And now we're going to get into a little bit deeper dive into the programs. And we want to know what is the major goal that you want to achieve in your program for your student athletes as they go through your program 3 or 4 years. Who's up?
I'll take it. At Memorial, we want guys to come in and build a connection and a friendship and a brotherhood that hopefully lasts their whole life, where they're always, they come in as a 14, 15-year-old and they leave 18, 19, and they're proud to be a Charger. They got, Chargers forever, friends for life. That's on the picture we give seniors on the senior banquet. And we want it to be more than words. We want it to be a real action and something that they take with them, and they come back to the gym when they're handling their business in college, or they're handling their business through work, or being a husband, being a father, in any aspects. We want them to always know that this is their home. Memorial is a part of them, and they are a part of Memorial. And through that, you hope to accomplish wins and great memories through the practices and the unseen hours. And you put all that together, and it's just, you want it to be a foundation for their future. And in turns, as a coach, you get, it's greater than gold, like we've talked about. And, That's the gist of my spiel.
Let me ask you this, Bobby.
Yeah.
Do you think that involvement of those former players when they come back have an impact on the current players?
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. They aspire to be that guy coming back, maybe, and they see that guy coming back, and he's got his stuff together. He sees a happiness, he sees a quiet confidence about him. He doesn't need to be loud on social media. You know, what he's attained is real. It's not a retweet. It's not a like. It's got depth. It's something that you know, they see, but they know that work was put in for that. It wasn't just instant. It was in the oven, not the microwave.
Carlin, what do you think?
We always preach that, you know, basketball is a tool.
Amen.
We just use this as a tool to get to where we want to be in life. I always tell them that, you know, it's you know, you want to be a successful woman, and basketball is going to give you the, you know, the discipline. It's going to give you that, you know, the proper way to be in a good relationship. You may not like your boss, which is me. You know, you're not going to like me, but you know what? You still got to go and get to work.
Yep.
You know, you still going to have to, you know, treat your coworkers, which is your teammates the right way. And so we just kind of use that philosophy as they come through and teach them that this is a family. And so just kind of, you know, view it as such and treat each other like your sisters. You know, the better you treat each other, the better we're going to have, you know, the more success we're going to have on the court. And so that's what we kind of tell the girls, is that just use this as a tool and just learn from it.
Rabu, what about you?
First of all, great things you guys just said. I know you guys have good things to say too. The biggest thing we try to tell kids at Booker T. Washington is that don't let basketball use you up. We want them to have a good experience, whether they're a Division I kid or they're going to be done playing when high school is over. I think the biggest thing Booker T has taught me is we can't just focus on one or the other. We want to make it a place where they learn how to be a good woman. They learn how to be a good teammate. They know what family is as far as coming back and giving back to the program and knowing that we're going to care for you once you're done playing for us. I tell my girls, if a coach only cares for you when you can help them out, that's a selfish coach. You'll know a coach cares about you if you're in college, if you're in your first job, and they're like, "Hey, come to my wedding," and they show up. "Hey, I just had a baby," and you're like, "I got you, $25, you know, for a gift." Or making those connections with the kids is what Booker T's just in Memorial has taught me that we have to continue to do with our programs.
Eli.
Well, since they said all the philosophical things, winning. No, seriously, I've always tried to teach my kids that winning is hard.
It is.
Yeah.
Life is hard, but if you work hard, you give yourself an opportunity and a chance to do something special. So just work hard, a blue collar mentality. I always tell my kids, we got to outwork everybody on every night that we play. And so really trying to instill hard work and discipline and just being those 4 Ds I talked about, defense, dedication, determination, discipline. We really try to impress upon those kids that these are the things that you have to have in order to be successful. And because of that, I like to think that that's part of the reason why I've been successful as a coach, because we want to preach upon that work ethic and along the things that those guys said as well.
Now, Michael, we just have 4 minutes. So,
Well, I love specifically what Bobby said. That's a lot of our philosophy as well. Is, you know, I've been blessed to have great relationships and in my basketball life, and I just want to provide those for the kids today and have a family mentality where when they graduate that they can come back and there's a home for them.
Yes.
People to be proud of them. And same thing Eli said, we want to be there. We want to work hard. We want to be thoughtful of other people's time. We don't want to get places 20 minutes late like Rabu today.
Whoa, shots fired.
Wow. And be thoughtful of other people as far as putting in the hard work and just doing it together. I try to remind these kids that this is the best time of their lives, playing with their best friends and their families in the stands and their community. To work hard and give all you can and enjoy every minute of it, because it'll be over with before you know it.
it'll never be that good again.
That's right.
That's why we wanted the high school experience to be as good as it can be.
Absolutely.
Because for 99% of them, that's the last time that somebody pays to see them play.
Yeah.
And we want it to be special for them. We got 2 minutes. Real quickly, let's go around the horn. Start with Bobby. Why do you win?
Great teams have great teammates. I mean, what you said about being a teammate, future in life, that if you learn how to work together, good things can happen. And what he said about work hard, as hard as you can so you have a chance. We have a chance to win every game we play because we have great teammates, great talent, and we work hard enough to have a chance to win. And we've been fortunate enough to win more than we've lost because we've given ourselves a chance.
What about you?
I think for me, I like to think of my success comes from I kill you in practice. Our practices are so tough and so hard and so demanding that the games are a lot easier. And so, and plus I like to teach a lot in practice and when I coach. So I think those things helped us be successful.
Rabu?
For me, it's sacrifice. If you can't get kids to want to sacrifice for the person next to them, it's hard to win basketball games.
Absolutely.
And they've got to see you as a coach, how are you sacrificing for them? I think all these guys have modeled that in their programs. It looks a little bit different based on where you're at, but can you sacrifice for your program? Can you teach sacrifice? Because when you can sacrifice, you can work hard, you can show up early, you can dive for a loose ball, take a charge. All those things that we talk about is lost in sports. It's not lost. We just got to keep reteaching it all the time.
Right.
Great point.
Michael?
Well, it's just teaching young men how to become men. I think sacrifice is a great word to use. We try and make our practices harder than the games. Same thing Bobby said about just winning attitude and hard outworking everybody else, taking advantage of the time you got. So much goes into it, mixing it up. But.
Yeah.
Carlin?
Ours is relationships. Not just relationships with our players, but relationship with the parents. Every good team that we've had and been successful with, I've had the opportunity to build a relationship with their parents that allowed me to coach their daughter and trusted me with their daughter. And so, and I go back and look at it, when we didn't have that relationship built, we wasn't pretty good. We weren't good at all. And so when we established that relationship, we had good years.
Sacrifice of the parents, too.
One of the things we've always said is give me your son or daughter, and I'll give you back an adult. Because they've been through our program and they understand what it is.
We've all had good players.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the state tournament and something funny that might have happened during the state tournament.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right. Only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
We've all talked about good players that we've had in our programs. Let's talk about who are the 2 or 3 best that you've been able to coach.
You're going to get us in trouble.
Shots fired. Shots fired again.
Probably my first year, she's 6 foot. Eve Lewis, she can pretty much do it all. She would honestly, if she had her grades up and it was took care of, business in the classroom, she would have been, probably D1 somewhere. But Eve Lewis probably was the one that stands out to me the most, just because she was just tough.
Very good player.
Yeah.
Well, my whole program at Edison got started with Will Creekmore. I would have to go with him. Just he got us to our first state tournament. He still playing professional basketball in Japan today. Just an overall winner.
I've got 2. I already mentioned her, Faith I.M. at Memorial. When I got the job at Memorial, she was a freshman. She is the hardest working kid I've ever coached. So I'm thinking, you get one of these every year? This is great.
Yeah.
Never had another one. Just worked hard. Even when she went to ORU, she was painting the curb in the summertime so she could stay in the dorms as a basketball player. Just a hard-working kid. And I say that's an actual life skill to work that hard. The best, beside any kid I'm coaching right now, and then Yvette Mayberry. I got her as a junior. You could not take the ball from her. She played both ends the entire time. I said, Lee and Marla, have some more kids because that girl can play some basketball like I've never seen.
This is tough. I have more than one, but I could start with Ryan Devers. First year at Central, he was just an unreal guard, man. Best point guard I've ever had. Then I go to Reve Norton, and Elijah Landrum was really good. And just last year had Cam Parker and Aaron Potter. I mean, so I've been blessed to have some really good players. And there's been more than that, but those 5 stand out.
I've been extremely blessed with some amazing guys, and I came in, Coach Savage left me a full cupboard, and I can't not think about Damari and RJ and Mike Wallen and AJ. And then I was lucky enough with the Boone twins and Ty and Braden Hubbard and Killian, and just, you know, the list goes on and on. But Caleb Nero, when he came in, he made, he did shift. You know, I'd say we were a great program, but he made it about work, because his hours he put in, and you remember, I mean, it was insane how long he would stay, and then he would make those shots, and I would be able to say he makes those shots because of what you guys didn't see. And from that, Shamar Walkers and Kobe Roses, they didn't just hobby it anymore. And Caleb Nero will play basketball as long as he possibly can, because it's not a hobby, it's an obsession. And so I'd say he's the most important player that I've coached, as far as making it a job and not just a cool thing to do.
Something funny that happened at the state tournament? Nothing funny?
We won it one year. I guess
That's pretty funny.
That was a great one. I remember when we had the Central and McLean playing, and Dr. Bowlin and I drove down, and I told him, I said, you know, Keith, the best thing that happens today is we get gold and silver. You know, we just don't know who's going to get it.
Right.
And and it was a heck of a game.
It was a great game.
It's not funny, but it was a bizarre twilight zone. 2015, we're playing Carl Albert 48-48.
Yep.
And they hit a buzzer beater as time expires. And Kobe Rose had a hurt foot, couldn't play. And I remember thinking, man, if Kobe we could have maybe doubled Mason, got the ball out of his hands. A year later, Kobe's a junior, Mason's a sophomore, 54-54 state finals now. We double, we 50 at 54-54. I mean, I'm sitting on the same bench. We double Mason. He gets it out of his hands. They miss a layup. Hopkins comes and tips it in over Isaiah Thomas's shoulder as time expires.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. It's the exact same 365, and I'm sitting there on the same bench, sitting on my knee. And I looked at Coach West and Coach Dre. I was like, has it really been 365 days and I'm doing the same exact thing that I did last year? They just got us on that buzzer beater, which that was a good. It's funny.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, now it's funny. You can laugh.
It's funny
now.
now. Yeah, you can laugh now.
It's hilarious.
I have no funny moments.
I got
They were all
not good.
They're all not good for me.
Rabu.
So Reese Anderson, we're playing Pryor, and we're down 2, and she's like, "What do you want to run?" Get a bucket. That's the play we're running right now. So we run the play, and she shoots a floater, and she makes it to put it to overtime. And they call timeout, and she's walking to the bench, and I walk out to her, I'm like, yeah, and I chest bump her, like chest to chest. And then my friends who are coaching behind me come and support. They just start dying laughing, because it's just, I tell you, you got to enjoy the moments, because you may not get them again. So
No doubt.
fun
You definitely
moment.
do that.
Yeah.
Getting the state tournament obviously is the epitome of what we all work for, and to have that right there in your hand and to be able to lose it 2 years in a row is tough. That's really tough. When we come back, we'll finish up and ask the coaches who they think the teams to beat in their classification are this year.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Welcome back to our last short segment. We're going to get the impression that each of the coaches have on who they need to beat to be able to win the state championship. And we'll start with Carlin.
Pretty much the same teams as last year, kind of reloading. You still have McAllister and Kawita's going to be better. But I think that if we work hard, we'll be there too as well.
Okay.
Well, and overall 5A, Del City, Carl Albert to be good on the east side. Memorial, Bobby's got another good team this year. So usual suspects.
6A.
6A girls. Obviously, Bixby Tina brings back her top 7. They were in state finals last year. They'll be a team to definitely compete with. Edmond North, who won it, who beat them. Pop does a great job out there. He's got some good. He graduated a little bit, but he's got that program rolling. And like Carlin said, hope to see if we just make it there. We'll be happy to see any of those teams there at the state tournament.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For us in 6A boys, PC West got a few move-ins, and also Edmond North again they were young last year, so they brought back just about everybody. And then on the east side over here is Broken Arrow is going to be really good, and it'll be fun to watch Owasso. They're young, but those kids are talented. So, and Jinx will still be pretty solid as well.
Mm-hmm. Bobby?
Coach Parish said the same. I echo that with Del City, Carl Albert. The West Side's got some great teams, and Edison and Tahlequah, and I think Memorial, and there's a handful of teams that are looking to get in there 5A East. So it's going to be fun. Just trying to get there is the main goal for all of us. Hope to see you guys there.
The state tournament, what do you think quickly here? We got 30 seconds on the format, not being at the Mabee Center anymore.
I wish it was.
I missed the maybe. I can't lie.
My bank account does not like going to West.
No.
It is. It's a shame that we lost it, but we did, and there are many reasons why. But we won't talk about on the air. But guys, thanks for being here today. I know taking time out of your class time and practice and everything, and we'll do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
We'll be back after these messages.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLean, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show what they're good at.
I want to thank our coaches today for sharing some of their candid observations about their position in education-based athletics. Time during the preseason is very precious each week as each coach prepares his team for the winter season. Good luck to all of our student athletes, their teams, and our coaches as they represent Tulsa Public Schools around the state of Oklahoma. We'll see you in 2 weeks with another edition of Inside Tulsa Athletics.